There is an entire menu dedicated to applique in the Husqvarna Viking Designer Brilliance 80. That menu is menu B. So it says applique stitches. You've got all sorts of the traditional blanket stitch options, as well as lots of other ones too, including the satin stitch, which will show you some awesome benefits for. So let's just say we are looking at stitch number 4, and another reason to stitch out all your decorative stitches, create your stitch book that we've been talking about, because just because you see it on screen doesn't mean that you're going to like it stitched out. So depending on what you're looking for, stitch 4 and stitch 6. So there are differences between that stitch, and I might even just take real quick and remind myself which one is which. But I think this one, nope, that one's, yep, no, this one has the 2 stitches between each one, and then 6 is the one that has 1 stitch between each bite. So even I sometimes need a little reminder of who is who. So depending on your look. So here, there was 2 stitches, 1, 2, before a bite. It's a little bit more spread out. Where this one, and the reason it's so small, is it is actually set up as a stitch width of 2 and a stitch length of 2. So again, if you're looking for a little bigger, I tend to keep those numbers equal. So if I make a stitch width of 3, I'll do a stitch length of 3. And then these are actually the stitches that are the heavier versions of this stitch. So they're going to stitch back and forth 1, 2, 3, and then 1, 2, 3, 4 back and forth. So again, stitch out your decorative stitches. I can't tell you enough how important that is. So let's say we are going, I am going to make this a little bigger just so you can see it. Also, my fabric I'm going to go around is a little bit bigger, but if I had a little smaller item, then again, change the proportion of the stitch to match your applique shape size. So another thing that I do like is a open toe foot, and that does not come with this machine, but it does let you see where you're going. That's available at your local Husqvarna Viking retailer. So highly recommend. I am a fan of those feet. So let me just show you real quick how to kind of guide this. It also shows you where the stitch is going to start. So when that needle comes down, you can see that black dot on the screen indicating that it is showing that it's going to start on the right side before it actually starts to jump into the fabric itself. Another thing you'll want to engage is your needle stopping down feature, because then that little hovering option will let you easily turn a corner or work on turning through a curve as desired. So as you kind of get comfortable with the way the stitch is made, that it jumps forward and then jumps in and then jumps back, you'll know when it's a right time to, say, pivot around a shape. So I might go right about there and then go ahead and do a little stitch. Oh, this is why I like an open toe foot. I could have seen that a little bit better, but I was just going ahead and stitch. Remember, you've got the fix button, so at any given time you can have a locking stitch and then it be cut and pulled to the back side. So yes, being able to get a little closer to the end would have been ideal. But see how that's a nice size or proportion to what you're actually working on. Now, just because you think of a blanket stitch as an applique stitch doesn't mean that's the only stitch that you could use. I am a big fan of decorative stitches, as you'll see throughout my Stitching Cosmos online course, where we use decorative stitches on everything. That one actually happens to be one with twin needlework, so I've taken decorative stitches and doubled them. Look at that. That's a big stitch. Those are fun things that you'll learn as you progress past just these free videos. Join us over at the Husqvarna Viking Stitching Cosmos online course. Links are below this YouTube video where you can see more and learn more of how you can become best friends with your machine.